Hello, everybody. I hope everybody had a great day. I have a piece of hair that's just flying up. Try to correct that. Anyway, welcome to the show. You see the title. Before we get to that, I'm going to pay some bills, then get to my announcements, then get to the show. So, first, hit that subscribe button. I'm back up to 427, which leads me to 73 subscribers before I hit that magical number of 500. Please, please, please hit that subscribe button. Subscribe, 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 subscribe. Please subscribe. It is literally free, doesn't cost you anything to subscribe. You can support me on Patreon. Patreon support is $2 a month, 50 cents a week. I think like less than a dime a day. So you can support this channel, help me to get better lighting, um, a microphone, a desk, another computer, so I can eventually get rid of that little duck that's in the your left hand, my right hand corner. Again, support starts at $2 per month. I would greatly appreciate that. You can also contribute to my personal GoFundMe page. Again, I'm trying to raise $2,500 for some situations that have came up. Greatly would appreciate your support. And finally, contribute to the First Baptist Church North Drama Academy. I've had that up this year. It's something new I've started to help inner city youth by teaching principles in theater, ending with a theatrical production. The goal is to raise $10,000. So please, please, please contribute. So today is probably going to be a shorter show because I have to be on another show at 8 o'clock. So I'm not going to rush, but I'm going to have a hard, soft heart, or I'm going to have to make sure I'm getting out as close to 8 o'clock. I might go a tad over, but I'm going to try not to. We have a great topic. So let me get to the announcements. This is a next, well, tomorrow, starting a new week, is going to be a very busy week for me. I have the Tracy show is going to be on Sunday. It's going to be on Monday. It's going to be on Thursday. Plus, I'm doing a Saturday show followed by another Sunday show. So I have 5 podcasts coming up within the span of 2 weeks. Um, just make sure you're tuning in to each of those. They all come on at 7 o'clock p.m. Like I said, tomorrow will be a special episode of The Tracy Show. We'll have one on Monday. We'll have a regular show on Thursday. Then the Saturday show on Saturday. Then the Sunday show on Sunday. So it's a busy, busy, busy week for me. I'll be filming some promotional work for the Academy. Um, it's just gonna be a very busy week. Uh, I'm going to let my peeps know that I'm live, and we'll just take it from here. Mm-hmm, 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 mm-hmm. Just wanting to make sure everybody knows I'm live. Okay, so before we get started on this topic, I've talked about this before in terms of a villain. Um, movie villains, da 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 da. But I think the one thing we have to realize, especially cartoon villains, and I may put some movies in there, but I want to do cartoons specifically. The villains are purposely written stupid. They have like all this intelligence, but they operate stupid, they think stupid, they talk stupid. They're written that way on purpose. Like the whole purpose of a cartoon villain is to be completely stupid, despite and some of the villains I'm gonna name, they have great intelligence, but the way they operate, you're like, well, where's that intelligence at? You doing some stupid stuff. Um, so you have to keep that in mind. But the ones that I'm naming, they go a step above. And I'll talk about how each of these goes a step above. And first, let's also keep in mind that I'm going to give cartoon characters human attributes. I'm going to say he, she, male, female. That's the way I'm going to do it because that's the way cartoons are written, because some of these are animals. And so I'm going to talk about them as though they are human. We all know they are not human. They are not human. They are not real. They are made up characters that somebody sat down and thought about, but I'm going to talk about in the context of this show. I'm going to talk about them as though they have these human characteristics that we can all identify with. So let's get started. Let's start off with Pepe Le Pew. Now you're thinking he's not a villain. Yeah, yes, he is. Pepe Le Pew, for you all that don't know, and since I know I can't play clips on YouTube anymore, um, Pappy Le Pew, of course, is a cartoon character from the Looney Tunes, and he's a skunk, I believe. Pappy Le Pew, um, is a skunk who is obsessed with this cat that he thinks is a skunk. He thinks she's a skunk, so he's attracted to her. What makes Pappy Le Pew a villain? Glad you asked. Pappy Le Pew is a villain because he constantly pursues and harasses unwilling female characters. They can say, hey, I don't want you. Okay, keep in mind these characters don't. Pappy Le Pew, I think, talks, but the other ones don't. So it's not like they're saying, hey, um, stop this. But you can tell the characters don't want him, and he just like stalks them. Um, he has an exaggerated romantic overture. He strokes his female victims. Um, Sometimes they imply sexual assault. Um, and it this is just um this is just clearly um a villain. And why am I saying that? Again, it's the essay for me. It's the stalking for me. It's the unwarranted advances. I think all the women watching can, and men too, can identify with a person watching that's saying, "Hey, you know, I don't want you. Um, go away," and he just keeps coming and keeps coming and keeps coming. Like, no, go away. Pepe Le Pew is definitely a cartoon villain. Just villain all the way. And hello, Theus, absolutely a predator. Just who sat here and thought, you know what? And I know this character is what, 79 years old. So back then, they weren't as aware of SA as we are now, so they could get away with a lot more. But come on, this guy, just um, and the French accent was just it was just so ugh. Um, um, you just wouldn't want to be around a person like this. So the next villain, and this one's on my little moniker, Yosemite Sam. Now you're gonna say, well, wait a minute, Yosemite Sam is not a villain. Yosemite Sam is definitely a villain. Yosemite Sam is another Why Warner Brothers got so many villains? But Yosemite Sam, first of all, is a member of the NRA. Now, that doesn't necessarily make a person a villain or a good guy, but he shoots his gun off for just the slightest little reason. He has no control over his emotions. He has he has let me close this little mirror. Um I think with Yosemite Sam, um I just think the gun toting um Confederate Army type of person that he is portrayed to be. Like sometimes he was a pirate, sometimes he was a Viking, sometimes it was like they couldn't make they knew they wanted to make him a villain. Um, and he was always, sometimes he was with rarely was he with a group. He was always like the lone person, right? He was never a part of a group. Um, like I said, he always shot off his gun um for no reason. Um, I think the thing about Yosemite Sam being a villain is it's just the guns. That just bothers me. Again, um Elmer Fudd was not a villain. Elmer Fudd has no intelligence. He's not smart enough to be a villain. Nope, I will not. Nope, 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 nope. Well, I will not. You will not disparage Elmer Fudd on this program. Nope, nope. Elmer Fudd, he didn't delete anybody, but he wanted to. Like he was always shooting off his gun. Just for the slightest little thing. Not because somebody shot at him first, just because, just because, um, just because. So the next villain, now I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this one, and I'm already ready to take my chops on this. Um, Let me bring this up. So just Froghorn Leghorn. Froghorn Leghorn, um, is definitely a member of the Confederacy. Definitely, definitely. This rooster, and the way his speech was, I says, you stupid. It's like this was this stereotypical Confederate soldier stereotype. He didn't do anything. Like he was a villain basically for me because he embodied the Confederacy. He he Froghorn Leghorn. Um, Wait a minute. Nope, not a villain. I'll explain why later. But Froghorn Leghorn, um, he had a southern accent. He was bombastic and somewhat unrefined. Now, basically, they mean he was an a-hole. That's basically what they mean. Um, he was a mentor to the younger chickens. No, there's a scene where he literally puts a dog in a guillotine. There's just a villain. I know people are gonna disagree and say, hey, he's not a villain. Froghorn Leghorn is a a villain. A villain. Froghorn Leghorn is a villain. Next one. Now this one, it hurts. It really, really hurts. He's a villain, but not all the time a villain. Daffy Duck. Daffy Duck um was a villain. Daffy Duck was a is portrayed as a narcissistic, self-centered person that always wants attention on him. Of course, he was foiled by Bugs Bunny. Sometimes they would put him against Elmer Fudd. Sometimes they would put him with Marvin the Martian. But Daffy Duck was definitely sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes you would cheer for him, but what I think makes him stupid is especially when he would go up against Bugs Bunny, like Bugs would do something, like Bugs would say, "Oh, I'll give you an example." So there's this one time that Bugs Bunny, um, wait a minute, hold on before I get to this story. No, Daffy was an abused personality that lashed out for attention. He was a victim, refusing to. He was a villain. Let me tell you why he was a villain. First of all, especially when he went up against Bugs Bunny. And here's why sometimes Daffy was not very smart. So one time, Daffy and Bugs were in a race, and they were racing for $1 million. They raised Daffy Duck cheats throughout the entire race. Cheats, 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 cheats. Gets to the end, sees boxes, right? And he's like, wait a minute, um, what I'm gonna do, them are just boxes. I'm gonna give them to my friend Bugs. Now, Bugs isn't his friend. Keep in mind this. There were 1 million boxes with $1 each. Bug, Daffy Duck. See, I don't want to say that Bugs Bunny was the villain because I happen to like Bugs Bunny. I mean, I like Daffy Duck too, but Daffy Duck wasn't always the villain. It was just especially when he was pitted against Bugs Bunny, but he just did stupid things. I'm like, um, bruh, you did all that cheating, you did all that stuff, and he always wanted the attention on himself. Like always. Like, dude, why you want the attention to yourself? It ain't all about you. Sometimes other people need to shine and you need to step back. It's not always about you getting attention, but that's who Daffy Duck was. Right. And I think for me, what makes him a villain, of course, he's going up against my favorite Looney Tunes character, Bugs Bunny. King Hogan's Bugs. Now, when he was pitted against Elmer Fudd, he was not the villain. But I'm talking about specifically when he was pitted against Bugs Bunny. Because when he was pitted against Elmer Fudd, it was always it's duck season. That's a good one. Um, I'm not gonna say Elmer. Like I said, Elmer Fudd doesn't have the um intellect to be considered a villain. Just no. But to me, Daffy Duck is just like quintessential uh, villain. Now, a lot of people are going to say, well, you didn't name Killmonger. Remember, yeah, Killmonger does not fit my definition of a villain. I don't think he was a villain. I think he was just like he saw his resources being used and said, no more, and just went with that. Um, and went there. So, um, I was trying to find another specific in- um instance of Daffy Duck being stupid. Let me type this in. Um, like I said, he has self-sabotaging behaviors, which again, all these villains do. They have something that they do, something that they say, something that they act. Um, but I just don't. Of course, he's right behind Bugs Bunny in terms of being my favorite villain character. But um, just favorite. So the next person, Skeletor from He-Man. Oh my gosh, Skeletor. First of all, somebody explain to me why Skeletor had the face of a skeleton, but then muscles also. I never understood that. Like, how do you have a muscle body but a skeleton face? That just never made sense. Um, it was suggesting like he's strong, like He-Man slash Adam was, but Skeletor was just not smart at all. I mean, there were episodes where, like, first of all, how did you not know that Adam and He-Man were the same person? Like, you just don't not know this. I mean, they look alike, um, they talk alike, um, you possess magic tricks, you can do powerful spells, you can build complex machines, you create elaborate plans, but boy, you come up with some of the goofiest, useless stuff. You have people around you, like the actor that used Skeletor's voice is here and care about what I'm saying. Skeletor was just surrounded by stupidity. It's like he picked it up and said, okay, here we go. Um, he screams a lot, he had a bad temper, but like I said, the people that he kept around him were just incredibly stupid. He was stupid. He would come up with these elaborate schemes. You're like, oh, maybe he'll get him this time. And then he would just do something stupid like um, drop something. In the Christmas special, he felt sorry for the children and gave them toys and dressed like No, like destroy him, like destroy him. And I would say Hordak, but I wasn't a big She-Ra fan. I was more of a He-Man fan than a She-Ra fan. So yeah, Skeletor definitely stupid. I'm like, what are you doing? Another stupid um villain, the Joker. The Joker, and I'm talking about the 1960s TV show with Adam West on Batman. I'm talking about the movies. I'm talking about just the Joker in essence. Because you would say, well, first of all, as with all the Batman series, none of the villains and Batman himself doesn't have any type of superpower. Um, Most people would consider him a genius. I don't agree. But I mean, he has planning skills. That's good. He can exploit people's fears and weaknesses. But the need to create now I'm leaning more towards the Joker is not a criminal genius. He's stupid. No, think about. Okay, so again, I said I wasn't going to talk about the TV show, but I'm going to talk about the TV show. No superpowers. He would make elaborate plans, but then do stupid stuff. Like there was one episode where they were like, I'll give you a good example. So the 1966 Batman movie, great movie by the way. So they come up with this plan. They're going to take all the capsules of the United Nations and blah 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 blah. So the Catwoman or the Penguin says, "Hey, don't drop this. This is important." What does the Joker do? Trip over something and mix up the capsules. Are you kidding me? Like he never had like yeah, he's smart like in terms of genius level, but he's stupid in the way he executes his plans. He doesn't execute. Like he maps it out, but he never thinks, oh, well, this could go wrong, or this could go wrong, or this could go wrong. Yeah, he kills people for literally no reason. He just enjoys killing people. But he's constantly um he has no motivation. Um he's repetitive in his chaos. He pulls jokes on people for what reason? Like, how is your joke creating chaos? Nah, nope, the Joker. I would also say the Penguin because he's another one. I'm just like all the Batman villains are just stupid. Let me just, I'll say that all the Batman villains, the Joker, Mad Hatter, the Penguin, the Catwoman, Shane, they're all stupid. Iceman, Poison Ivy, um, that one, um, King Tut. It's like, do any of y'all know what a pistol is? Like y'all just sitting here, you know Batman don't carry weapons. I mean, he carries weapons, but they're in that bat belt thing. Um, you never thought that Bruce Wayne and Batman were the same person? Same height, same voice, same what? Oh my gosh. Just another. Oh, well, let me move on. Yeah, all the Batman villains are just stupid. And Catwoman, I don't know what her power is. I don't know whether she's smart. I don't know. She's just agile. Well, that'll stop it. And then they come up, like I said, they come up with some of the dumbest plans. You're like, that will never work. And again, as I talked about at the beginning, they set villains up to be stupid. It's just a setup. The writers have said, okay, this person is just going to be stupid. Shredder. Shredder from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is another. Just, and you would think, oh, well, Shredder, he's. Um, his, his, how can I explain this? I think with the Shredder, what makes him stupid is his strengths, and I'll explain what I mean. So Shredder is very detailed in his planning. He implores the help of Bebop and Rocksteady, the Foot Clan. He's got Brainiac, so he's got all the pieces to take the turtles out, but never ceases to do it. And that's because of his arrogance. His arrogance makes him stupid. He's confident, but he doesn't have the ability to back up his arrogance, and that's what makes him stupid. So in other words, when he's out here making these plans, um he's so like, I'm number one, I'm gonna just do whatever I do. But it's it's so his, like I said, his arrogance and his narcissism makes him stupid. And if it weren't for that in him, it's like he's his own hype man. And he underestimates the reptiles. He lets personal petty grudges against Splinter get in the way. Um, I just think, Shredder is just stupid. I don't know why. And I'm just talking about the late 80s, early 90s cartoon. I'm not talking about the movies where they tried to make them darker. I'm specifically talking about the TV cartoon show, Heroes in a Half Shell, Turtle Power. That's what I'm talking about. I didn't get it. I'm like, why is he so goofy? That's not how he was in the comics. Because in the comics, they let him, get one or two off on the turtles. He didn't destroy them because you wouldn't have much of a series. But you're like, oh, you can see it. TV show. No, let's make him super arrogant, super narcissist, and let that be his downfall. Um, my sister mentioned Mixoplex. Um, Mixoplex, he was just stupid because all you had to do was make him say his name backwards. Not very smart. Get it done. Another villain. I'm trying to think of who else here. I had this. I'm trying to get my oh, Gargamel. Oh my goodness. Gargamel was so stupid. Now, let me say this. I don't like the Smurfs. I never liked the Smurfs. I think the Smurfs are stupid. I think they should shut the Smurf up. I don't like them. I never have liked them. And Gargamel is probably the reason why. He has let me- I think what Gargamel is, he's like that special um he he lacks common sense. He should be able to defeat the Smurfs on paper. And I think that's what's frustrating because you watch him, um, he comes up with potions, he uses and understands dark magic. He just doesn't use them. I mean, he never uses his dark magic skills. The Smurfs are what, two apples high or three apples high or whatever, and you can't use dark magic to defeat them? I mean, you just come up with something stupid? Like his plans to defeat the Smurfs are stupid. He created Smurfette. Yes. And for somebody that didn't watch the show, how I know this, I don't know. I didn't had nothing to do that day, so I just watched. But Gargamel creates Smurfette, and then Papa Smurf changed her to good. I, I just don't understand. I don't understand. I mean, I understand why they do it, and that's to make the heroes look good, but sometimes these villains are just so stupid. Um, that it just becomes wait a minute. It becomes just like clownish. Wait a minute. Um, I know which one I forgot, and I don't understand this. Wile Coyote. Wile Coyote has got to be the dumbest, stupidest villain. I mean, he's probably the dumbest on this list. Um, if you don't know who Wile E. Coyote is, of course, a coyote. And his main mission in life is to eat the Roadrunner. How many times can you say, look at me, I'm stupid, without actually saying, look at me, I'm stupid? This cartoon character had to spend at least $1 million on all the contraptions that he came up with to capture the Roadrunner. From painting bricks black and the Roadrunner ran through it, but he got blocked by it, to having a piano falling on him, to being exploded, to having a train run over him. How many times can you pursue the same thing over and over and over and over before you realize, hey, me catching this is not going to happen. Maybe I should do something else. Maybe I need to concentrate on something else, right? Maybe I need to like put my focus somewhere else because what I'm doing and what I'm spending and what I'm exerting in terms of energy, like he sits here, plots the plan, and then it never, ever, ever works. I think like one time he called um the Roadrunner, and he looks at the cameras like, now what do you want me to do? Well, what was your whole point? I just Wile E. Coyote is just so dumb. I can't even with Wile E. Coyote. Um, we said Gargamel. Um, yeah. I'm gonna move on here because I'm just like, yeah, that's okay. So I don't. I okay. So this one I'm kind of on the fence about, and if anybody's watching, please just um let me know because I'm on the fence about Dick Dastardly. Now, if you don't know who it is I'm talking about, you have to watch a series of cartoons called The Wacky Races. The Wacky Races, uh, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. Starscream. Name sounds familiar, but I don't remember who that is. So, Dick Dastardly is a part of a group of cartoons where they kind of like the let me just describe the Wacky Races. Um, you get 11 different cars. Well, it's a 1968 Hanna-Barbera cartoon series remains favorite due to its large. So it was an ensemble cast of cartoon characters that were pitted in teams. So you had Team Huckleberry Hound, Team Yogi the Bear, blah 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 blah. Um, and Dick Dastardly would actually cheat. Like he would go to the trouble of cheating. Like he would flatten the tires. He would take out the engines. He would do all of these things. Um, yes, he did. That's why I said the Wacky Racist was an ensemble of cartoon characters. Um, he would do all of these things to cheat, but he would still lose. How do you take the effort of taking an engine out of a car and you can't figure out how to win a race? I don't. I don't understand you. I don't understand you. Next stupid cartoon villain, the Claw, Inspector Gadget. Now, I'm not going to ever talk about that terrible movie, never, ever in a million years. But for some of you that don't know, Inspector Gadget was one of the greatest cartoons of the 80s. It had Inspector Gadget, and his niece Penny basically did all the work for him, and she never got the credit. Inspector Gadget slash Penny's, well, let me backtrack. Penny's nemesis was Dr. Claw. Dr. Claw was this unseen, stupid villain that just another person that made plans, and on paper you think, oh, well, this will work. And because Penny was way smarter than he was, nothing he ever did worked. Nothing he ever did worked. Um, he didn't realize that he lost. He didn't. It was like you were there, but you you was there and stuff, but you got outwitted by a little girl. A little girl basically outwitted you. You had everything in your possession to win, but you didn't. And that's why I'm like, how did you not win? You were there. You had the like everything that you in your possession was right there. Um, um, Now here's one I know everybody's gonna disagree with me on. And I love this character, but he not the brightest. Megatron. I don't know whether they wrote Megatron stupid. Well, see, you're saying Megatron's sidekick. I'm saying Megatron himself was stupid. First of all, he kept a bunch of nitwits around him. Why would you? And I forgot that Starscream was his right hand person. You gonna keep Starscream, and you know he's stupid? Then here's another one. Made plans, couldn't execute because he had a bunch of dummies around him and wasn't smart enough to recruit people smart enough to get him. Like if you know everybody in um the Decepticons, yes, the Decepticons are stupid. Get rid of them and recruit more Decepticons. I know there's not a whole lot of them that came to planet Earth, but blah blah blah. If you should have enough sense to know that the people around you was not the smartest people at all. I'll tell you another one that was not smart. Um, Brainiac. Now y'all gonna say who? So Brainiac was a was in a DC Comics, and I'm going more towards um the Super Friends Brainiac more so than the comic strip Brainiac, because the comic strip Brainiac was in them streets. Brainiac was, I think, um Batman's nemesis. Wait a minute, was Brainiac Batman's nemesis? I thought it was super. Okay, so Brainiac was an arch enemy of Superman. I thought it was Batman for some reason. But anyway, Brainiac's thing was um he was really smart. And again, I'm going by the Super Friends Brainiac, not the comic book Brainiac. Because like I said, comic book Brainiac was in them streets. He was super intelligent. He was a cyborg. He was from the planet Kulu or Kolo or Kolu. Anyway, so but in the Super Friends, he didn't even make good plans. It was like you're called Brainiac, but you're stupid. You are not smart. He never came up with a plan. He was the other bald head white guy. He ranked at least fourth in the Legion of Doom because there was Lex Luthor was number one. God was number not Zod, not God. Um, the Gorilla, the Gorilla was number two. Um, Brainiac was three. I would say Joker was four, and maybe Brainiac was like the fifth. Like he wasn't even top three in the Legion of Doom. He wasn't smart. He didn't come up with plans. He never mobilized. You never saw him fire a gun. You never saw him fight a fight. What you there for? What are you there for? I don't understand. And my last one, I'm saving up for my last one because I got a whole lot of problems with my last one. So, um, that was another one. Um, and let's see. Here's another one. Now, you would think, um, I would put these to, I'm gonna put these three together because they go together. Um, okay, so I'm gonna tell you their names, but you're gonna be like, who? Um, there was General Zod, Ursa, and Nan. Now you like, well, who are they? Well, they're the three villains from the Superman 2 movie, the best of the Superman series. I mean, I like Superman 1, but I love Superman 2. So these three villains have exactly the same powers as Superman. They can fly, they can see through things, they have X-ray vision, blah, blah, blah. Everything Superman has, they have because they're from the same planet, right? So you would think, oh, well, Superman's going to have a hard time. He's going to get defeated because he's battling himself three times. General Zod, Ursa, and Nan, right? So it's three of them versus one of Superman. Nope. These three dummies are so engulfed. Each of them, even though the one doesn't speak, but each of them is so engulfed by narcissism that one they can't agree with each other. So when you assemble a group of villains or superheroes, you got to make sure that you agree on what the objective is. Now, everybody will say, oh, well, they agreed on destroying Superman, but they really didn't. They kept arguing about how they were going to do it. They didn't think, well, Superman has the same powers as we do. So this is going to be, do we take them on one by one, or do we go three on one? Do we get kryptonite? Have somebody, ship some kryptonite to them, even though that's like we have an apprehension to kryptonite just like Superman. It's like they didn't think. They just thought, oh, well, because we got all these powers. But Superman has the same powers as you. And it's like, wait a minute. What you talking about? Um, um, and and I gotta talk about why they became um like that. So way back on planet Krypton, when they were trying to save the planet, these three were like, nah, we're gonna overtake the planet. So they put them in this glass like thing and just sent them out to the universe and somebody broke it and da there on Earth. Um, but that I just cannot believe um that I'm like, yeah. And okay, and let me talk about how that get defeated because I'm gonna stay on Superman 2. I told you I'm gonna stay on this a long time. So if you've never watched the movie Superman 2, here comes a spoiler alert. So stupid Superman, because he was stupid for doing this, gives up his powers to be with Lois Lane. So of course, now the 3 degrees, they can take over the earth because they don't got Superman to fight. Now you would think, oh, now we can take over and we could just, divide this power among each other. No, they end up fighting. But oh, and they make Lex Luthor the ambassador to Australia. But so Superman gives up his power, so he becomes Clark Kent. Gets his tail beaten by some guy in a dike. So then Superman says, you know what? Nah, Lois, you ain't even worth it. So he Superman, or at this point, yeah, because he's back to like once he decides, hey, I'm gonna go back to being Superman. He gets in this foam boofy looking thing and he loses all his powers. So he reverses it somehow, and I forget how they do it, but they reverse it, and so now he's back to being Superman. So Superman, gets um Ursa Non and General Zod to come to Krypton or the North Star or wherever that place is. And he says, hey, they say, you give up your powers or we'll kill Lois Lane because at this point they've captured. And he says, okay. And so I'll go into this booth. Little beknownst to them that that booth actually protects Superman from the same powers that made him lose his powers. So now they lose their powers. Why didn't they think, wait a minute, why is he getting into this? Now maybe they thought, oh, um, this will protect us. We're protected from being outside. But did they think that Superman was stupid? Okay, sure, he was stupid for giving up his powers, but he was in love with Lois Lane. Have that made any sense? I don't know. But yeah, it's just stupid. So the last one I want to talk about. I, when I say that a villain is stupid, it's stupid villains had a team captain, a president, an emperor, a king, a monarch. Lex Luthor would be it. Lex Luthor has to be the dumbest villain ever. Just ever. I the lack of intelligence that this man, oh, he's really smart. And he's and he's really smart. Okay, so he's so smart. Now, backstory, because I gotta tell you this. So, how did Lex Luthor become an enemy of Superman? Well, when Clark Kent um was in school, I guess he knew that Clark Kent was Superman because they did like a high school experiment together. And so Lex Luthor loses his hair and he blames Clark Kent. Wait a minute, I'm gonna get this right. Wait a minute, I'm gonna get this right. How did Lex Luthor become? Sorry, yeah, but okay, I'm gonna get this right. So Lex Luthor became Superman's arch enemy through three main evolutionary phases. Um, he was a. We're gonna just talk about the one that I know of. So Lex Luthor was a redheaded little genius, and he was out here in them streets doing science experiments, and something went wrong. Um, and he blamed Superman slash Clark Kent for his hair being lost. And that's how they became enemies. So here comes number one question. So if you, if you, and I want you to think about this. It, uh, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. So, um, I think that because it depends on um which one you read. So, because my first question was like, well, if him and Clark went to school together, did he know that Clark Kent and Superman were the same person? Because if he did not, and let's just say he was Clark Kent in the science experiment that took his hair, then why hate Superman, right? He would just hate Clark Kent because he doesn't know that Clark Kent and Superman are the same. I think he did know that Clark Kent and Superman were the same, and that's why he hated Superman. It makes more sense because you're like, well, why would he hate Superman if he's doesn't know that they're like one and the same? So I think can't prove it that he does know. So if we're gonna just go with what I think happens, why doesn't he just tell everybody that Clark Kent is Superman? Just tell everybody. Tell everybody that Clark Kent and Superman are the same person. Like, what you got to lose? You're like, I went to school with him. Here's some pictures. Next question. Lex Luthor definitely knows that kryptonite will kill Superman. Why doesn't he just go get some? He just sits here and comes up with all these stupid plans to get rid of Superman, and all you gotta do is get kryptonite. The stuff is in mass supplies. You can always find it. Just go get some. Nope. You're gonna get all of these stupid plans together and just like um just do nothing when you already know that kryptonite, whether he's mad at Clark Kent or mad at Superman, or he does or doesn't know, he already knows that somehow he figures out kryptonite is going to be this man's downfall. So nope, you don't do that. Nope, nope, nope. You do not do that. You come up with building uh Bizarro. You come up with what was the name of that? Um, what was the name of that? Um, Nuclear Man. So instead of um getting kryptonite, you built Nuclear Man. You team up with Ursa, Zod, and Nan. Just go get some kryptonite. That's all you have to do. You don't have to do anything else. You've already figured it out. It's right there for you. Literally right there. All you have to do is go get some kryptonite. You don't have to come up with wackety wick plans. And like I said, if you knew that Clark Kent and Superman were the same, tell everybody. Make him prove that he's not, which we all know he is. Another thing, dude, the arrogance. Dial it down. You're getting all of these people, um um especially the Challenge of the Super Friends version. Just stupid. Um, he had in the and I'm specifically talking about the Challenge of the Super Friends. Just dumb plans. Just dumb plans. I'm like, you came up with this by yourself, and all the other ones who are stupid also for free. Yeah, that sounds good. Like, nah, bro, that ain't gonna work. This guy's supposed to be a top scientist. He's out here inventing suits and weapons and cures for diseases just to prove he's better. And you can't figure out um one of the weaknesses here says his why people think he's smart. He always has kryptonite around him. He never uses it. Um, I mean, and it's just like I said, they purposely made Lex Luthor stupid so that Superman can look smart. There's no way you can be that dumb. You know what I'm gonna say it again. You know that kryptonite is his weakness. You keep it around. Why not use that kryptonite? Use it. You know that's his weakness. You know that's his weakness. Use it. And ladies and gentlemen, that is my countdown to stupid cartoon villains. There were a lot of them. That's my list. Tell me what yours is in the comment section. Remember, tomorrow, the Tracy Show will come on Sunday at 7. The Tracy Show will also come on Monday at 7. The Tracy Show will also come on Thursday at 7. We'll have our Saturday show, and then we'll follow back on schedule. Guys, have a great evening. turn over to Complex Mind Simple Man. I'm on my way over to that channel to discuss a more serious topic. I will see you all over there, or I will see you all tomorrow. Have a great evening. Bye bye.